Oh, hi, Mark. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I just wanted to use that. It's been so long since I opened with a really good one. It was worth it. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble all over the place, Shujin. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I promised that I wasn't going to do anything for April Fool's Day. That wasn't for April Fool's Day. That was just because I've had a weird evening. I told the guys what I was doing before I got the show started, so it's just because of the way things are working out. It's going to be a little bit of a weird night. I'll explain in a couple of seconds. Top left-hand corner of the bingo card outside of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, 02134. Some people get that reference. You're welcome. Good evening, Dalan.
I don't think I'm old enough to get that reference.
You're probably not. It's probably a good thing. You're child. It's okay. Postal codes are different up here than I did there. Long story. And from south and a little bit east from the Midwest of the U.S. Good evening, Brigid.
Good evening.
Now, those either normal consumers of the show, so to speak, you'll notice that this was an extremely short introduction of people on the show with us right now. Yeah, there's reasons. Okay, so I got contact from Heretic Woman, who said, and I'm passing this along. I did not ask. So Heretic Woman, tough. She said, we have zombie Jew stuff to do tomorrow, and I need to get a decent sleep. So, okay, right there with you. I get you.
Yeah. In case anybody in the audience was wondering, is Heretic Woman really an atheist? I think she's given us the right answer.
Yeah. The amount of bacon that's included in most of the stuff that she does. Yeah, I would say so. And there's things. Unreal Tech, we're expecting. He did say that he did chime in earlier on us and ask, "Do we have a show going on?" And that was like 5 seconds before he sent the show invite to get him on. His next answer was, "Oh, okay. So I guess we are okay." So we're waiting for him to apparently grow his coffee trees and roast them and crush them and brew them and.
Well, I thought he was. I thought he was like going to go talk to Juan Valdez or something.
It could be. I don't know, but we're kind of waiting on him. So, Heretic Woman is getting a pass. Unreal Tech is just late to class. Joseph, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to see about getting in touch with him. It's entirely possible with everything that's been going on that he's just flat out, tired, which I would not blame him for one bit. Mm-hmm. So whatever. Joey, don't know, could be sleep. I mean, the weather has shifted yet again. Yeah. So it's entirely possible he's just kind of grogged out of his ass right now.
Well, I was lucky enough to have the day off work yesterday because, Good Friday, and figured that would be the perfect time to go out and maybe, get a few things done, run a few errands, and then, have at least one day in my weekend where I could just, flat out veg out. Yeah. Now, I've been to Oklahoma. I've seen horizontal rain.
Yep.
Anybody in the middle of the tornado alley, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, yesterday, I saw horizontal snow.
Oh my goodness.
Now, to be fair, the place I live in right now is pretty contained. Like it holds the heat in quite well to the point where in the middle of the winter, I've actually had to open windows just to try to cool the place off. So yesterday I'm here running, doing a few things online, and it is suddenly getting not just a little cold. Like it's getting, okay, my feet are starting to feel it. It's that cold. So yeah, it had to basically shut everything off and just try to let things warm up. It was brutal.
I hear you there. Funny enough, I just pulled it up because it's been a long time since we did a check-in over there. Yellowknife. Yeah, Yellowknife's doing okay for itself right now. Oh, Dalan?
Yes.
According to my Google device, Calgary is currently chiming in at minus 12 Celsius.
Yeah. The temperature is one thing, but it's the wind chill.
No, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
The problem of it is, I currently have Yellowknife clocking in at minus 10.
To all of you climate change deniers out there,
I apparently came in at just the right moment.
Yes, you did.
well, that was not a kiss hello, just so you know.
What? No tongue this time?
No, not this time. There's a thing with PETA right about now. There's a whole thing. So
This ain't 210 tech.
yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh, okay.
So as was mentioned, yes, Unrido Tech has finally spoken to Juan Valdez, grown his own beans, roasted, crushed, and stewed. So hi, Tech.
Hi. I thought I had made the pot.
Okay, we talked about coffee. We talked about coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, you see in a few
I
months.
had made the pot of coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee.
The carafe, if you will. Or is it carafe? Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not that smarmy.
Don't look at
I
me.
wear a freaking spoon that was turned into a ring, for crying out loud. I don't have class.
So you were married by Uri Geller? I figured I'd ask. It fit the bill.
There we go. There we go. The Uri Geller Wedding Chapel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Rings made while you wait.
Right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
So this could be
Is
one of those
that
nights,
the
folks.
bending of the spoon trick? The real trick is when they get done bending the spoon, you find you're married.
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that. Whatever.
I was going to say something about altered state of mind, but no.
That would be in New York, and that's a whole other thing. We're not going to get DMCA'd for
The only
that.
altered state of mind I have is tired. By the way, it's supposed to snow by me down here tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
supposed to snow here too.
Well, guys,
Gotta
I'll give
love
you a bit of a
climate change.
preview. I'll give you a bit of a spoiler here. What's coming your way is gonna suck. If it's any if what I had to deal with yesterday is any indication, y'all in for a good time.
yeah.
Now I have to fix my earpiece because you hit that high note. Mm.
Well, and it offers the perfect opportunity to troll the kids. Can boil the eggs and go hide them in the snow without dyeing them. Tell them good luck.
Actually, if you really want to be evil, dye them with the glow-in-the-dark paint. Make them wait till sundown to find them.
God, they'll be frozen by then.
Exactly.
man,
That's the whole point.
I don't know about that. I'd be a little concerned. I mean, but then again, I'm from a place, where snowball fights are, commonplace, and start throwing frozen eggs at each other.
Ow.
No, you take them inside, you cut them up, and you turn them into egg salad.
Actually, I think I like my idea better. Sorry, not a fan of egg salad. Just
Yeah.
that's
I
just
like egg
that's-
salad.
and
Brigid,
you're
I'm with you. You come over to my place, I'll make you some really good egg salad.
Okay.
it's perfectly. See, that's what I love about this show. It's okay for people to be wrong half the time on the show. It's fine.
Yeah, especially when it's the main host.
You didn't hear how you didn't hear how I opened the show. And by the way, you're on thin ice as it is, Mister. You've been missing a lot. So
Am I on double secret probation?
no, it's even worse from that. Until you actually come in with a note from Epstein's mom, you watch what you're doing over here. Anyway, those of you that are watching in live, first off, I hope that you're having yourselves a good time of it all. Cheers. How do they say it in Germany? Chaim. So
There's only a select few that used to say that in Germany.
Yeah, I
I was going to say that the people that used to say "Chaim" in Germany, it didn't end so well for them.
L'chaim.
Oh, look,
no, you're
the
right.
lower third doesn't work at all.
Yeah,
Which is
I know.
great.
Yeah,
I know.
we've tried all that.
Yeah, we did all that.
I don't know. No, we wouldn't be targeted by Google.
No, it's there's a anyway,
Google is obviously trying to get some other framework in place, and they haven't figured it out.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so that people understand, the coffee that I'm drinking is still the last. I've still got a little bit left of the ground maple coffee. Thank you very much, President's Choice. Nice stuff. I really do like it. Screw it. Oh.
Just
By the way,
coffee.
I'd like to point out that I have had the privilege, and I say that not in the nicest of ways, of having wine-infused coffee, where they basically have the beans in a barrel where the barrel was used to age wine.
Why?
To infuse the wine flavoring into the beans for roasting.
Why?
It does not taste good.
It's probably
You're better off having a glass of wine in one hand and a glass of coffee in the other.
If you want that, just watch episode 200 and you'll see correctly labeled episode 200.
Yeah, it's probably like the same thing. Like there was a wine I had on the show a while back, Apothic Inferno, which is a red wine blend, which was stored in old whiskey barrels. So you get the flavor of the Scotch infusing into the wine. And like this apparent wine-infused coffee, to me, it did not taste very good. It just like you smell it to what is it, to get the nose or whatever crap it is. It smells like Scotch, and it burns like Scotch, but it tastes like wine.
Yeah,
gross.
It's like, look, if I want to be that, if I want to do that to myself, I'll go buy a bottle of Scotch. Oh, and just for everybody, just so you know, I am not a Scotch drinker. I'm not a whiskey drinker. I am not a rye drinker.
Vodka.
Yeah. Now, that
Give
being
me
said,
vodka.
yeah. Now, that being said, tonight I got a bit of the Irish going here. I do have coffee. That's what this is, with a little bit of crushed ice to make like an iced coffee, and a rather healthy dose of Bailey's.
Notice he cleared his throat after he said a healthy dose.
So what you're saying is that's 4 parts Bailey's to 1 part coffee.
Part coffee.
Close.
Well,
I'm sorry, 5 parts Bailey's, 1 part coffee. Going full Irish here.
No,
it's 5 parts Bailey's, a half part coffee, and the rest of it is the crushed ice. You wee daft mother.
I can't do accents that well.
It's okay. Look, at least he's doing it the Irish way and he's not doing the metric way. Because 1 to 10, yeah, that's.
Hey, look at it this way. I'm on a new blood thinner.
Yep.
And while I am feeling okay, the symptoms are starting to even out.
That'd be
a little pill versus a needle. It's kind of a psychological thing. So I'm giving it a little help.
So, those of you that are watching live, now that I can finally get around to it, hi! It's nice to have you guys back over here. So, Stephanie, I can see you over there. Good to have you. And Love Sora, hi! Nice to have you guys. And, of course, if you are watching live, please, by all means, take advantage of the live chat so we can go ahead and get your thoughts in and amongst with everything else. I may not always answer everything that's on. I probably won't tappity-tappity so it doesn't come through the microphone, but am watching, am reading, and will respond every once in a while. You know, because sometimes I'm a really bad host and I don't know what I'm doing. Sure, yeah, whatever that was. So anyway, we will see what happens with everybody, and we'll see if anybody else shows up. But be that as it may, let me go ahead and roll everything going over here because well, we got a show to do. So
wait, we're live?
Yes, we've been live. Seriously?
No, I know we're live. I was joking.
You know, every once in a while. You know what? Just do us all a favor. Stop drinking your potatoes and just eating them out of the fry box, okay? Just be done with it that way. Drinking vodka.
It would take less time to eat them right out of the box.
You know what? They're called apples of the earth for a reason. You can throw them at everybody. I don't whatever the hell it is. Anyway, Let me. They're tubers. Okay, they're tubers.
I am addicted to spuds.
Yeah. Again, DMCA. We're not going there. With 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. I.O.U. Actually, believe it or not, this was. I don't have any way of doing in text the circle with a slash through it. There's no ANSI code for that for a single line of text, to the best of my knowledge. Whatever. But I saw something that was interesting to me on Facebook recently, where somebody basically put out the argument that yes, we can get into arguments with people, and we can go ahead and say, look, the information is out there. And yes, we probably should back up whatever claims that we've got with, evidence and data and that kind of thing. But at the same time, we owe to integrity to do that. So if we're going to go ahead and put out whatever it is as factual, we should be able to back that up. But just because you, nameless, faceless personality that I've never seen the name of before on some social media, suddenly come up and say, I want to argue with you about this point, I don't know you a damn thing. Seriously, I have no investment whatsoever in a nameless, faceless personality most of the time. No, actually, I don't ever. See, that's the thing. Just because we can argue doesn't mean that we have to, or even that we should. Sometimes it's better to just sit back, relax, and watch the dominoes fall where they will. Sometimes that's actually very satisfying, because I've seen that happen with a couple of people who've been my new best friends. It's amazing how that works after a little while. But I don't necessarily owe somebody an argument. Just because we differ doesn't mean that I have to argue with you. Matter of fact, there's some times where it's probably better that I don't. So this isn't just about me. This is about any of us that want to go ahead and have a discussion online for whatever reason. Now, yes, we skeptics tend to be a little bit more argumentative, and I use the term kind of loosely, not to mean that we're mean-spirited or that we're assholes, just that sometimes we know stuff. There's a lot of times that we know stuff that people will just say, well, no, okay, so blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, and we know full well that they're completely wrong, but we can find a way of helping the truth come out. And you know how much I hate saying the truth. I hate that word now. But we have ways of making the facts come into place so that people will understand and people look at the facts and actually, with a little bit of nudging, will actually come to better conclusions after a while. It doesn't always work that way, but what are you going to do? We try. There are people for whom we should interact with and should argue with. But we also have to be really careful on how much. There's one person, I've already said, I refuse to engage you again because you are that much of a closed-minded individual who refuses to see past his own bubble. Absolutely refuses. This is the kind of guy who wanted to throw me a whole bunch of creationist bullshit. Said, look, all of my information is available in this 6-part video series on YouTube that's an hour long each. Just go and watch No, I'm not going to watch 6 hours of videos because you say that's where your information comes from. No, give me a paper, give me a citation, tell me exactly where it is. But I've kind of decided I can drop pieces to others in the periphery when they're wrong, or making examples sideline I don't have to engage them. I don't have to explain to them why they're being a fool. All I need to be able to do is say, look, that's an interesting post that you've got there. And I'm just going to completely ignore the asshat that I've had problems with who's commented before. I'm not going to respond to them. I'm going to respond to your original post. And I'll say why I agree with it or disagree, why it holds up on its merits or doesn't. And funny, when I have a long thread with these people and every single happy face or thumbs up or attaboy is at one of my posts, that's nice. When it's all of my posts in a thread, yeah, maybe what I do owe is the right information to the people who need it. Because I don't think I could make bail if I was to hit somebody with a clue by 4 that richly deserved it. Is episode 205 on the... is it 205? Yeah, it's 205. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 205. It's close enough. You know what? It's good. I'll make a big board in the back and just start writing numbers down. It's 205.
Dude, it's good enough for government work.
It's good enough for...
I know, I do government work.
Yeah, I know. We had a... last week, Dalan made me aware that I made a boo-boo. We had 196 and then
196.
And then episode 196, because episode 196 part B apparently was could you repeat the question?
Mm-hmm.
Ironically enough, and I accidentally repeated the episode numbers. So we've since fixed that. So if you're keeping track of this, the videos on YouTube now have slightly different numberings. It's 197, 198, 199, 199 and a half, and then 200. So we're right now. I made sure of that. Sorry. So if you're going looking at your podcatcher thing, and you're looking at it and you're going, what? It's my fault. Sorry. I've been taking the numbering sessions from the guys over there, Cogdis. I guess I don't know. I just can't.
Episode 999. One more, and we'll hit the 1,000 mark, folks. Keep tuned next week.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting for the one night when we all get so drunk and you just end up saying, this is episode potato. then we'll have made it.
This is episode the last. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I come on and everything goes to hell. What are the odds?
And
I'm sober.
Yeah, and awake. That's even more impressive.
I'm awake.
It's interesting. They
after I made a pot of coffee, I finished off one of these. Then I logged in.
There you go. I wanted to dovetail a little bit off the freestyle here, if that's okay. A while back, I was asked to proofread an essay that somebody was going to do for their YouTube channel. He just put it out to some guys in a Discord channel that I happen to belong to, and I offered to check it over with him. And I was kind of amazed at what he was talking about. It was called the essay was called "On Invalid Arguments," and it was basically taking two YouTubers who are known for quote unquote debating, or they post an awful lot of content. And
bullshitting or true debates?
Well, I don't think either one of them are actual real debaters, but they both have channels where they, of course, post their basically video essays, like so many others do. But there was a stark difference between the two of them. One of them continuously cites her sources, like speaks them and puts them up on the screen. Basically giving the audience a chance to go and check her sources to see, to check for their own validity and perhaps read a little bit more into the studies she's quoting.
Yeah, basically keeping you honest.
Yeah. So a lot like what you do. Like you said, you cite your sources, you reference those. Yeah. No, but that's the point. The other person is one of these educate yourself type people where they'll post a link to, perhaps a 50-page report or a 6-hour video series. And when you ask for specifics, they will double down, they will get aggressive, and they will they'll throw the sources at you again and say, look, just go here and educate yourself. Now, while that does not necessarily invalidate somebody's argument, it does reduce, I think, a lot of its credibility because, well, if you're not willing or able to take the appropriate chunk out of what you've just thrown at me and say, go here and look at this, then why bother? I know this one. I've heard this one. Let me see if I can warm up for this one.
Me. I'm not gonna do your homework for you.
Yep.
I fucking hate
that. Or the other one I've heard, and not necessarily in the circle that this show typically goes around, but when I hear the phrase, it's not my job to educate you, to quote Gene Wilder from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, wrong, sir, you are wrong. Because if you are the one who is making this claim to me, to tell me that what you're saying is right, then it is. The onus is completely on you to tell me where you're getting the source and to explain it to me in such a way that, A, you're not patronizing me, because you do not patronize someone you're talking to.
That's patronize. That's a different one.
Either way.
Patronizing is giving money.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
do not. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. It's
no. I understand. Yeah, you patronize an establishment.
Right.
My bad. I blame the booze.
You can also patronize the establishment owner.
Yeah, which is, that's when Vinny and Bucky, the two guys, the two muscled mooks standing at the door, kindly escort you out through a brief experience of airfare.
Okay. You're talking about Vinny was the one who backed me up.
But anyways, my point is, if you tell me that it is not your job to educate me on the point that you're trying to make, and that you're just telling me to go educate yourself, your credibility to me has gone in the toilet. And as far as I'm concerned, you are lying your ass off and do not deserve to, well, basically, you don't deserve to speak on any kind of topic like this.
I always like to when they tell you, go use Google. The research is out there. You can find it. Just find it yourself.
Yeah, no. It does not work like that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the downside of that is I've run across articles using Google, and I've wanted to use them as a counter to something. But when I go back to look for the source, I can't find it. Maybe the page has gone down. Maybe the search engine has changed so that I can no longer find that particular article or something. And that's really bad, because then if I want to try to rely on that source, I no longer can, because, well, what am I going to say? Well, I found it on Google, but I can't find it right now. Well, that kind of makes me look like the very kind of dick I'm trying to fight against.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's, like I said, there's a downside to it. But yeah, if somebody ever tells you just, oh, go to Google or go to find this, or, analyze, educate yourself. No, screw you. The onus is on you. You make
It's one thing if you're telling them, look, I got this book. It's this title. I can't remember what the author is, but if you punch it into Google, the author pops right up. That's one thing. Like if you say, oh, go to Wikipedia and enter these terms, and you'll find this article in Wikipedia. That's not the same as saying, oh, just look it up.
Well, I'd be requesting something a little more specific than that, though, because you say, oh, it's this book. Okay, well, where in this book? Because I'm not going to go through 300 pages to find a single sentence that, taken out of complete context, might justify or might corroborate what you've said.
Yep. Well, I was using the example of people do forget to bookmark things from time to time. We ourselves on this show have ended up having to go, crap, we forgot to bookmark it. Let's see if we can find it real quick. How the hell did we find this last time?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a one-off, that's one thing. If they're doing it every single time, I would side with you, Dalan, going, hey, look, you do it once, that's one thing. You keep doing it, you're insulting my intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And like I said, this one particular dude, it's a whole other thing. And by the way, Stephanie had made mention, quote, I love Aaron Ra's Foundational Falsehoods series. Oh yes. I'm on board with you.
I have that one and Why Do People Laugh at Creationists as bookmarked playlists. And the beautiful thing about at least the Why Do People Laugh at Creationists, he's still updating it.
Because it's so easy.
Well, not only that, but I mean, like Ken Ham, as more and more stuff came out about the money problems that he's been having, and they finally got the statistics for like the man hours of labor and for everything like that. He actually came back because he'd been off that show for a while. And then he came back as like, yeah, this fits, is all he basically said. He says, this fits. So he put it in,
So lots of stuff. So let's go ahead and cover really quickly and then get into the whole thing of it all. As far as the update on Raif Badawi, we don't have anything directly on him at this point. His wife is still pushing really, really hard for the government to work some way of getting some kind of a special case for him to make him Canadian citizen, which we've talked about before is just a big old can of worms for legalities and amongst other things. So, obviously we're not expecting very much of anything on that, but she's still pushing, which is, amazing woman. I did, however, see very briefly that there is some award that he has been bestowed with for, I forget exactly what it was. I think it was a group in California that was giving him an award for bravery in journalism, I believe is what it was. I forget exactly what it was. I will make sure that I've got it for next week's show because I was a little off at this point trying to find it. Sorry.
I got it.
Oh, did you?
I just got it. The article I got, actually, you know what? Let me do the old screen share here for those of us who are actually watching. So, whoops, wrong screen. Oh no, that is the right screen. Never mind.
That's right.
Los Angeles Press Club to honor jailed blogger Raif Badawi with Daniel Pearl Award for Courage and Integrity in Journalism. This is from the Montreal Gazette. Raif Badawi has been in prison in Saudi Arabia since 2012. There's his wife with a picture of him. Let's see.
Yeah, you'll drop me the link so I can drop it into the show notes for later, right?
You got it. I'll throw that in chat right now.
Okay. The long and short of it is, he's been given this award because, well, he basically put himself out there as saying, "Look, I just want to have a conversation," and he was unapologetic about it. He basically said, "Look, I'm going to do my thing because I'm going to do my thing." And if I take heat for it, I'm doing the right thing. I don't know at this point if Insaf has had the opportunity of speaking with him and letting him know. Last I remember, they try to have roughly once a week phone calls to keep, apprised of what's going on for each other. don't know. I haven't exactly heard. Like I said, it's real spotty to try to get new information every once in a while. So, we try our best. As of the recording of tonight's show, however, this now puts it at 5 years, 9 months, 15 days since Raif Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family, man. We're hoping. So, as far as tonight's actual topic, this kind of laid into what got me started down this path of getting this show started years ago, several years ago, actually, at this point. I had waited until a week after Easter, and I had basically put up a post on social media, Facebook specifically, that basically said, if I had taken my kids and thrown them into the basement and withheld food and water and roasted them alive and beat them until they said that they loved me and kept doing it because they didn't love me enough, I would be a goddamn monster. And this is the God of the Bible that you think is so wonderful, that you revered last weekend. What the hell is wrong with you? No, I'm paraphrasing, very, very highly paraphrasing. And I had a number of interesting complaints. One of which, some of you might remember. I've spoken about this one particular asshat on several occasions. The one that I knew back from high school, who was an asshole back then and continues to be an asshole now. The one who attacked me on his own show several years ago, and his wife, the one who said, "I'm going to go ahead and go to bed with my wife and hug her and give her a kiss goodnight because you can't." That one. Yeah, he was the one that was the first out of the gate to go ahead and give me all kinds of shit for it. I knew you when you were in school, and I knew you were a Catholic then, and you went through confirmation and the whole thing, and what the hell is wrong with you? And you were never a good Catholic, and the whole I mean, seriously, when all is said and done, yeah, whatever. But we kind of got to talking about this a little bit last week, and it was kind of one of those things that got me to thinking. We atheists, usually atheists, especially skeptics, we have a real hard time with this whole Easter thing. Never mind the fact that it's creatively acquired from other heathen rituals and party times, but the whole story just doesn't really make a lot of sense at all. So, we know that, and we're the ones who look over and don't bow our heads and look around the table and find out who's still got their head up. Yeah, we're feeling the same thing. We're not with this at all. But how far should we push? How far can we push before it's gauche? I don't know that I should use the term gauche because I can't even spell it off the top of my head. No, I can't. I can't. I might accidentally write ganache. Just I would much prefer ganache.
I was going to say a little bit tastier.
Oh yeah. Tell you. Never mind. Tell you about that later.
More on the Kit Kats later.
Well, no, it's not that. When the bakery was still in operation, the 5-gallon bowl or bucket actually that they made ganache in. Oh. He had a big old, those round beaters that you typically use for mixing up. You'd put on the end of a power drill to mix up paint.
Yeah.
Okay. They had one of those with like a 4-foot long center shaft on it, and an impact drill that he used to mix all the stuff in the 5-gallon bucket for the bakery. So yeah.
Well, when I was still married, my now ex-wife, she would She worked at a grocery store, and every so often, if I was cooking something special that night, she would bring home a couple of pieces of cake from the bakery with a layer of the ganache on top. And it was so thick, well, so tough. Like, basically, you're done with the steak knife after you've finished cutting your steak. You clean that sucker off so you can cut the ganache on the cake, man. I mean, I was in the bathroom for like twice as long, brushing my teeth, trying to get the stuff off my teeth.
I was getting worried there for a second. I was getting really
no. But no, it is absolutely decadent. When I go shopping these days, I walk by the dessert aisle and I see those ganache cakes, and I think to myself, maybe one time for old time's sake. And then I realize that's just $5. That's a $5 memory lane I really don't want to go down at this point.
Fair enough.
Someday, maybe, maybe there's someone else that I'd love to enjoy a ganache cake with. But of course, she's on a major diet right now. So I mention anything like that to her, she's like, cakes are bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not too far from the truth.
Well, right. She's not wrong, but she's not wrong, but come on, let's not get religious about it, huh?
Tech, you were saying?
I said that's what diet soda's for, so you can have regular cake.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fluffy.
Yeah, take your diet soda. Wow, that sounded like I came from Minnesota. Sorry. take your
I don't even drink soda anymore. I drink coffee. I drink water.
Yeah, I was going to say, take your diet soft drink and compare it to your regular soft drink. And of most import, look at the sodium content between the two.
I don't have to, dude. I eat ramen, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I was going to say, like the sugar, the lack of sugar in a diet drink is more than made up by the sodium. So, yeah, you won't die of a sugar overdose, but you'll just die of like hypertension or a freaking heart attack from too much sodium in your system.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I mean, even Brigid will tell us. Brigid, sodium's important for us, though, right?
Well, yeah.
See? That's what
yes, if your sodium is too low, it can cause you to have heart problems.
Yeah, but if it's too high, it's the same thing, correct?
Well, yes. I mean,
there you go.
There has to be a balance.
Exactly.
Whatever the hell. Anyway, so, okay, fine. Ichiban ramen noodle bowls? Yeah, just don't do that. Just don't do that.
I used to love those things.
Oh, God, tell me about it.
Yeah,
I ate the whole thing.
Chicken, okay, like the instant pack of Ichiban ramen, because it's got the spicy seasoning. Well, the more seasoned seasoning. One of those, slice of cheese, and 2 beat eggs poured into it so that they cook.
Okay, never did that in college. I was the stupid one that had the hot pot, did the water, put the thing of ramen in there.
Yeah.
Poured out the water, sprinkled the stuff on the top, mixed it up, and I was a dumb kid. I don't
know. I mean, anyway, that's the normal stuff. It's just I added a few other things because I was
no. It was no longer soup. That's the problem. It was no longer soup.
Oh
yes, I have a miniature rice cooker, and I put my ramen in there, but I put in extra water because in a rice cooker, the ramen noodles. They suck everything up. So I just put a link up there for what Nongshim. I get these. My local grocery store actually carries this very packet. And Nongshim makes they call it shin. And it is spicy, to say the least. If you're not somebody who regularly uses... oh, great. My brain just farted. What's the one with the picture of the chicken on it? The hot sauce?
Sriracha.
Sriracha. If you're not regularly using sriracha or something equivalent or hotter on a daily basis, you don't buy this stuff. I didn't realize how hot it was. I just knew that the regular spicy stuff wasn't cutting it. I made that thing in the rice cooker. With the extra water, of course, so I still had some sauce and they were all puffed up. They had absorbed all the spice.
Oh, dear.
So normally when you make stuff, even ramen spicy the right way, the noodles are the cooling part. Like I go out and I have drunken noodles over at my local Thai place. The noodles, it's kind of inverse. The sauce is the cool part. The noodles are like on fire. I don't know how they do that, but it's really funny. Here, everything was on fire. I ate it while I was at work.
Oops.
It was delicious, and I regretted everything. But I didn't regret everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I'm never going to do this again until next week.
I bought 4 more packs. I have 1 left.
Yeah, there's a term for people like you.
Sadists.
Masochists.
Masochists, that's it.
Actually, I was going to go with dumb, but okay, sure. We'll go with that. Fine.
Jeez, man.
I'm sorry. Dude.
It's delicious, dude. The flavor is so good.
Tough love. I'm sorry.
It's tough.
Anyway.
Well, how else do you expect me to clear out my sinuses? Vacuum cleaner?
You know, what you do with your Electrolux is your business. We're going to talk about Easter and
you're
how
showing
far
your age,
we could
sweetheart.
shut up. Here. Fine. Are you happy now? See that?
Oh, you have one too. You have one too.
I have 2 of them.
You know.
Oh, I have the cassette adapter, so you can plug it into the cassette tape system.
I got it.
Isn't it great?
Okay.
Earlier today, just actually trying to get us on a topic here.
Good luck.
Heretic Woman posted on Facebook, "Happy Dead Guy on a Stick Day."
Yep.
I saw that this morning, and after just about shooting a cup of coffee out my nose, I've had this earworm stuck in my head all day, but it's kind of hard to put it onto visual social media, because when you want to say something like, "Hey, look, is Jesus on a stick?" Of course, Jesus is spelled Jesus. So unless I'm posting to sort of like-minded people, and of course, if I spelled steak, you know, Steeck, maybe then people would get it. But yeah, no, I'm thinking this is Jose Jalapeño's little brother Jesus on a steak. If I'm going to hell, I'm driving the damn bus. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'll race you. I'll drive it sideways, man. Anyway.
I'm calling window seat.
So yeah. I mean, stuff like that on social media, there are ways of getting around that. I mean, you could go ahead and you could say, you've got plausible deniability. I saw this. I forwarded it on because I thought this was just too damn funny.
Yeah, that didn't necessarily work for Richard Dawkins. Now, did it?
What did he do? I missed this then.
Oh, he didn't do it. No, he just retweeted something a long time ago, and let's just say Twitter exploded in nipple squirting of hate butter all over the place.
I don't ever want. No, you know, don't.
I know. I probably put that on the list, which is kind of bad since this is not the show for that. But
I got to start a whole other. You know, if I got to start a whole new list, I'm going to get an 8.5. No, I've got 8.5 by load. I will get a legal pad, and I will start from page 1, line 1, single spaced, in like 15-point font, so that it fits properly. Don't make me do that,
dude. Go 11 by 17. With the amount of cringe we could put on this show, you need a notebook.
It's got a point. I'll just get an easel. Yeah. I'll just do it back there. Anyway, so okay, yeah. So Heretic Woman went ahead and did her thing, and I've seen a number of them floating around, including the one where the quickie explanation of Passover is a picture of this guy from Egypt. You know, the old biblical Egyptian who's painting the red on the. I know. Just don't leave it. Yeah. Painting the red on the door frame, and it's just like, if you're celebrating Passover, why? You know, stuff like that. What kind? Wait a second. Was it sheep's blood? Was it?
Goat's blood, I think.
Goat's blood. Okay, goat's blood. Ghost blood, keeping God from killing the wrong kids because he's not damn it, what the hell is the one for knowing everything?
Omniscient.
Omniscient. Thank you. I couldn't remember that one for some reason. Damn. I'm not playing that one up.
No, I've heard omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient.
Yeah. See, I had the other two. I couldn't get the trifecta, and I'm not doing that one because I'm trying to play up for a laugh or anything. I honestly couldn't. It wouldn't come to my head, some stupid reason. But yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the Velociraptor, who's also had stuff like that. You know, it's like, you know, there's plausible deniability for, you know, needling at people these days because, you know, social media. Okay, fine. It's disrespectful, but okay, you know, it's social media. We get it. But then you get to people when you're actually with family for brunch. And I'm going to be doing that tomorrow with family who is nominally religious. You know, they celebrate the big ones, and I don't know if they go to church every week or every other week or whatever, but
you know, to people like that, I would say this. Like, if you're an atheist, an unabashed or out atheist, and you have to go to these things because of family, I would say for the most part, do nothing. You know, what's important? Your stance against organized religion or your relationship with your family. Yes, I know those lines can be blurred. And I know that there are some family members who will make the attempt to evangelize. Now, it's at that point that I'm saying, okay, you know what? If they throw the first punch, you know, game on, bitch. But, you know, if it's just going to be a nice family dinner where you're just going to maybe, I don't know, catch up on a few things, I don't see a problem with, you know, keeping your mouth shut about that particular side of things. Now, that's just me. You know, I mean, I haven't said great. I haven't had to deal with grace at a table since the last wedding I went to, which was really weird considering it was a secular wedding, but the grace was being done to satisfy a couple of the friends who were kind of diehard in that respect. So, you know, like I said, if you're going to a family dinner expecting to make a scene, then you're doing it wrong. But if the scene is created because someone, like I said, if they take the first swipe, then I say game on.
Yeah.
You know,
there's that.
If someone told me I was going to hell, I'd be like, yeah, really? You first. They're like, oh, what's that? You're Catholic? Okay, so you support priests buggering little boys in the rectory, huh?
I believe the word you're looking for is rectum. Good try, though. I mean, it's tonight.
I was talking about a geographic location, not intimate location.
Okay, point. I take it back.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I retract the objection.
This is what I get for listening to Stephen Lynch last week.
Anyway, but yeah, see, and that's where it starts to get a little bit weird. I mean, we know full well that there are a number of times where the better choice is to kind of hang back, and we know that we don't want, generally speaking, most of us don't want to go and pick a fight. And I say that generally speaking. Some people do. Some people that's their shtick. And I get that. There's a place for it. It's not mine. I would much rather listen, learn, and then educate. That's the way that I typically run it. I think part of that is because I'm just old and decrepit and just not as quick as I used to be.
Well, the other question is, are you going to convert anybody at that dinner?
Now, probably not.
No. All you're going to do is you're going to be seen as the guy who kicked everybody's puppy. And that is all they will see you as.
Yeah. And that's part of the problem. Now, the other part, the other the other piece of this puzzle that I was actually leaning into getting into is the one where we social folks, we social cultures, we gather. And these big moments like, New Year's, Christmas, Groundhog Day, Easter, we get together. And sometimes we're not in our own homes and we're at somebody else's. And the dynamic changes because it's somebody else's house. And that's where the tiptoeing begins. Now, like I said, I'm going to be going out to family. I'll only go as far as that tomorrow, and I'm appreciative that I get the chance of getting together. I am a very non-social. I'm not going to say antisocial. I'm a very non-social in, forgive me, meat space type person. So it's nice to be invited. It's nice to have the opportunity, but I don't participate in the religious stuff. And let me tell you, it's really tough sometimes because it's in there. I grew up in Catholics, so a lot of the call and response stuff is reflex.
Mm-hmm.
May the force be with you, and also with shit. No, and seriously,
Oops.
Now the thing of it is, I mean, we can joke about that now, but it's if you were to do that to somebody who has been nominally Catholic when they were a kid and grew up, if you say to them, if you do the mental Rorschach test of, if I say to you, may the force be with you, what's the first thing that comes back into your mind?
And also with you.
Also with you.
Yeah.
And when did that ever appear? Never. Never. At least I hope not. I've only seen 4.
Okay, as someone who's seen them all, I can say that no, it has not happened.
Oh, good. Thank you. Wow. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So
yeah, I've noticed that whenever somebody says "May the Force be with you," it was usually followed by a head nod of acknowledgement.
And that's it. It's just, basically a tacit thank you.
You know what I've gotten in the habit when people say, "I will pray for you now" to me? Do you know what I say to them?
Mm-hmm.
I say, I understand for the most part, it's usually, I thank you for the sentiment. For longer people I actually consider worth it, I say, I understand what you're trying to do and your feelings and everything else. It's appreciated. It is noted, but don't feel the need to pray for me. But for the average person, I appreciate the sentiment, and I just go on with my day.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, they're saying, I'm keeping you in. Well, nominally, they're trying to say,
I'm thinking about you.
I'm thinking about you. I'm hoping for you, and we know full well that hopes and prayers don't do jack shit.
Yeah, except to satisfy the people who say I'm praying for you, because then they feel less guilty because, oh look, I did something. The way Stewart went, look what I can do on Mad TV.
Stewart was funny though.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one who got that one.
I'm sure I saw it, but there's a certain line in the early 2000s where brain kind of got a little screwed up.
Yeah, so. But all I'm saying is that, like, if someone, I mean, I've had people pray for me, especially last year. I didn't say anything. I just said thanks, because what is going to be accomplished by ripping into them by saying, don't if you're going to do something, do it. Don't give me this I'm praying for you as some way to alleviate some feeling of latent guilt or the fact that you're just not going to do anything, and this is your token whatever. I mean, yeah, I could very easily have called people to task, especially given as it was getting a little bit later in that whole thing. I was not. I mean, if that one religious guy had popped in to start giving me Bible quotes again, I probably would have thrown something at him. Something about that tall, plastic, and usually full of, let's just say one of my own waste products, but you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I said before. I mean, I honestly think there's a time and the place to confront and call out. And knowing the situation, I think, is the most important part, rather than just, spewing it out willy-nilly. Like, doing it in such a way that you can not so much control the arena, but also don't have yourself at a disadvantage, like at somebody's house. You've been invited over for Easter dinner, and if they are a diehard Catholic or a diehard, God-fearing thing, whatever the fact, a lot of us who came from religion, go through the motions. It's not going to kill you. You're not going to atheist hell for just going with the flow. Call it recon, if you will. Silverman probably would put me to the task for this, because I'm not a firebrand atheist. I never was. I'll be the guy that's sitting there, like you said, Shujin, watching, learning, understanding, analyzing. And yeah, if it comes up, if one of them gets in your face and starts, calling out on your atheism, then be nice. Counter them, but be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. The second you get your hackles up and you start raising your voice, your credibility dies.
Yep. And that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that we hit on. The dynamic between having people at your, I was going to say house. You know what? Generic term for the time being. Your house. Could be apartment, could be whatever the hell. It's a different dynamic when it's your place and people are visiting versus you are the visitor to someone else's house.
Mm-hmm.
When it's, and I've had to tell people this on several occasions before. Your house, your rules. And I want to make sure that people understand that it's not just for these types of gatherings where it's literally at your house. If it's your event, it's your rules. For instance, it's your wedding, it's your rules. I have heard of situations where people were going to be getting married, and there was question as to who was going to be invited and who was not. What was going to be part of the reception and not. Things like, was there going to be an invocation at the reception or not? And who wanted what in? Who wanted which preacher? Or you get the idea. If it's your event, doesn't matter what it is or where it is, your house, your rules. Now, you don't have to be a dick about it, but you also don't need to be a doormat neither.
Mm-hmm.
And, if any of us know full well what that part is like, I'm sorry, Brigid, but I have to think, of any of us that had to learn, you owe it to yourself not to be a doormat. I think that you coming out of your I'm sorry. I'm going to call it like it was. Your cult.
Mhm.
You know, you had to learn because you didn't have too much of a choice.
Well, I mean, being a doormat was part of the doctrine,
Exactly.
and I was heavily indoctrinated. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, and you've said before, you know, you wanted to get into medicine, and you went for it, and then suddenly the floor fell out from underneath you, and you to coin a term, you basically went, wait, what's all this I didn't know about? Why didn't I know about this? Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, talking about turning your world upside down. And, then I started questioning, well, what else have I been lied to about? And, I mean, it was stunning to me. And I felt so stupid and lied to and just a lot of different emotions.
Yeah. Now
It was scary. It was really scary.
I don't blame you, but I'm bringing this up not because I'm trying to make a point about religious indoctrination, allocution. Every once in a while, I think I've got this whole speaking thing down. And then every once in a while, I think that I actually went to the James Brown School of Allocution, and I can't say a goddamn word. Man,
What?
Later, another time, later.
No, I was just being goofy.
Again, later. I'm bringing it up because being a doormat is worse. Sorry, it is as bad as stomping on someone. And sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's not as bad, but it's never a good thing. Either extreme is never a good thing. It's okay to hang back once in a while because nobody wants anybody. Wheaton's rule, don't be a dick. But at the same time, hanging back too much is a problem. Now, in these situations where we get our folks together for these kinds of events, it's okay to hang back a little bit. Don't pick a fight. But at the same time, you don't have to just take it if drunk Uncle Willie is going ahead on his tirade again about the unbelievers who are going to be going to hell and doing
and
their
that's
thing.
What I said. That's what I've been saying is don't start it. But if someone does start it, work towards finishing it. Be it diffusing the situation, or if you've got to show the guy up, if you've got to bruise his ego a little bit to get him to shut up, then, well, he started it.
Yeah.
And here's an interesting situation that I had to deal with. I didn't find out till later, largely because I didn't know this particular family, but my nephew got married recently. A beautiful wedding out at a ranch. His now wife's family, they run a rather large horse ranch out in the sticks out here. It took a while to get there for the wedding day. But they breed horses, they stable them, they train people to ride. They also do a dressage. I was about to say horse dancing, but you know what I mean.
Folks, there's a lot of stuff going on behind these eyelids right now. It's not that I'm tired. I'm just tried really hard. This is not the show and venue.
Yeah.
For what? Yeah. Later.
Anyway. Yeah.
Brigid, no, hold on a second. Brigid, seriously, you, if you have some idea, we really have to talk sometime. If you don't, I am so glad you're having a good laugh at my expense right about now. So
Yeah, I just put the two and two together, and now I'm regretting going down this road.
No, it's perfectly fine. I was actually going to say, you've got one of those. Well, you've got two of those salt lamps back there. You could have brought it there as a gift offering for the horses. Or is it?
Well, yeah, if I'd gotten them like 2 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, well,
anyways,
details. Go on.
So the wedding was for family and friends, obviously. It was held in the backyard of her grandparents' house.
Nice.
By Justice of the Peace, with a couple of interesting little ceremonies thrown in. But everything secular. There was no mention of God. There was no mention of Jesus. There was no mention of this or that or, the other stuff. Her family is Mormon. Apparently she had been excommunicated from the faith, but in a completely weird turn, not separated from the family. So if the local religion, whatever, had said, well, you can't you can't talk with her. The old man, the patriarch of the family, basically said, screw you, and has kept some kind of relationship with his granddaughter. The only stipulation was that it was a dry wedding. No booze. Except the one guy that smuggled it in like total high school. Basically had like a
hip flask.
No, sports bottle filled with something. Got to be. He was pinned. He's standing outside the barn where we're going in for the dinner, and he's kind of bobbing and weaving, trying to look sober and utterly failing. And after the ceremony, I went back to my brother's place and we had a couple of drinks, and he showed up, and I didn't. There is a limit to how drunk a person can get.
Oh yes, I learned my limit a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but there does become a point where you drink more, but you don't get more drunk. Like you don't get any worse off. Yeah, this guy not only crossed that line, he blew past it and kept going. I mean, he got to my brother's place, continued to drink his face off, and he got worse and worse and worse. Thankfully, not too vocal, just couldn't move that well. But to my point, like you said, your house, your rules, and that was their stipulation. Just what, we'll do the thing here. It won't be a religious wedding. But we just ask, no booze on premises because that's our religious thing. And nobody really said anything about it. I mean, I'm not a drinker more than socially. I do not. I mean, I got a 26 of vodka that I've had in my cupboard since like last Christmas. I think I've maybe taken 2 shots out of it. I don't drink that much. But nobody there was offended by it. And like I said, I didn't even know about the whole Mormon thing until after the ceremony. My brother said, yeah, these guys are Mormons. Like, wait a minute, but if she's not Mormon anymore, but there's still a relationship going on here, what's going on? Because I thought that was one of the whole things. I guess case by case.
Yeah. This was up there in Canada. And
yeah,
both of the families were also Canadian, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, one of it was my family, my brother's son, who's he's gotten himself into a couple of things over the years, and yeah, and she is also part of a family up in Canada.
Okay,
it's not this cross-border thing.
All right, it's all right. The reason why I'm kind of bringing that up is that we know full well that the Canadian side of the border, religion is how do we?
Not quite as hardcore.
Not that big a deal.
It's not as hardcore as it is down in the States.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, does Canada even have an American, a Canadian equivalent of the American Bible Belt?
I honestly, if there is tech, I might be living close to the buckle. Alberta is a very conservative province. There's a lot of grassroots, old world type values here. You can see it with some people. You can hear it, especially when they talk about. I mean, I live in a very ethnically saturated place. I believe in this particular neighborhood, I'm in the minority. But again, I don't give anybody grief over it. But there are people who have their reservations about that kind of stuff. But around here, if I hear someone say, "Praise the Lord," that you're having a good day, you know, you shake somebody's hand and say, "Hey, how's your day been?" Oh, and you respond, "Oh, my day's been great." "Oh, praise Jesus." Right away, that sets off alarm bells up here. But I have noticed down in the States, particularly in the Bible Belt, when I've been traveling, I hear that one crop up quite a bit.
Yeah. All right. Really quickly, only because I want to keep making sure that you're awake, Brigid. Sorry. For the people, all right, just making sure that we've got points cleared, and Tech, I'd otherwise ask you, but you're ready, awake and talking. You are still awake though, right? I mean, I come. No, Tech.
Oh no, he's snoring.
You know what? Screw you too. All right. So when referring to the Bible Belt here in the U.S., geographically, generally speaking, what kind of areas are we talking about?
Talking about the South, some of the Midwest, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee.
The places that have got the drawl, the Nolans drawl. All right, now the reason why I wanted to bring that up is to make sure that people understand
that. There's a lot of Protestants there.
Oh, they're true.
Yeah, a lot of Protestants, a lot of evangelicals,
Protestants,
Southern Baptists,
big time. All right, now the reason why I'm kind of bringing this into the equation is that, and I will admit, I'm not a Canadian, much to the surprise of the folks over there at Fertile Equinox in Toronto sometimes. Oh wait, you're not a local? No, I'm just nice. Oh wow, I never knew.
Yeah, well, but then again, you know, Toronto.
Yeah,
there's a degree of, like, nice is in degrees, and I wouldn't exactly call Toronto the friendliest city in Canada. I'm just saying.
Dude, I mean, I was born in Brooklyn, remember? So, you know, there's a big difference.
I was going to say, yeah, almost anything would be a step up, but
Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey has a bad habit of ventilating people. All right, Godfather. Never mind. So the what I was going to go for though was, even though I myself am not Canadian, the way that I've understood it, as far as to a quote unquote Bible Belt for Canada, it's much more. And Dalan, kind of see if I've got this right. It's a lot more of a patchwork. There's no real geographic area where you can point at and say, yeah, this is absolutely. It's kind of little pockmarks every once in a while for different areas to certain degrees, and some not. And then, of course, you got the freaking Quebecois and all that shit. But
that's a beast unto itself. But no, you're right. I haven't seen any places that are very heavily evangelical or very heavily, you know, one faith over another. At least in my experience, you know, I grew up in a town where there was less than 10,000 people, but we had a Lutheran, Anglican, Roman Catholic, Pentecostal, Jehovah's Witness, Orthodox church. And those are just the ones that I knew about because I saw them. All of them relatively well attended for many years. We actually had 2 Anglican churches, but one of them eventually had to shut down just because of dwindling population. The Lutheran and Anglican churches have now merged, at least in terms of their congregation. They will spend one weekend at one church and the other weekend at the other. Both churches are huge, I might add. Just very large buildings. You know, lots of recreational areas. I think the Lutheran church now, its bottom floors are now rented out as office space, just to keep the bills paid. But just an awful lot of diversity in a small town. But even with that, there was no there was none of that, that Oral Roberts fire and praise God type stuff going around. I mean, it was all very, very low key, very subtle. There was no, you could ask a person what religion they were or, what church they went to and like, oh, we're this. Okay. I knew some people who were from the Pentecostal church. Didn't find out until this show that they were Pentecostal, because that was when I found out, the girls couldn't cut their hair. The men had to keep their hair a certain way. There was this, there was that. In this one family, I knew they had to follow all these rules. And I thought, well, that's freaking weird. And then thanks to this show, I figured out, oh, that's tenets of being in the Pentecostal church. Now that makes sense. And the only reason I never keyed in before that is because they've never publicly spoken in tongues to anybody that I've ever seen. Unless there was one who was, she used to go get wrecked at the bar ever so often. But then she was probably doing another kind of speaking in tongues. But this is not one of those kind of shows.
Oh, I thought we were making references to Harry Potter now. Okay, never mind. It's a whole other thing.
Harry Potterhead, what?
It's the... Never mind.
The term cunning linguist comes to mind.
Okay.
No, cunning linguist. Linguist.
That's what I said. Go drunk tech, you're home.
Dude, I haven't had any alcohol tonight. This is me tired from god-awful amounts of exercise today. Exercise and I don't agree. Alcohol and I agree.
Yeah, alcohol and I agree. That exercise and I don't agree. However, I've got to start hammering out that disagreement, but that's another story.
Join the club. That's a whole other thing.
But no, as has been my experience, religion, at least for me, and this is why I kind of surprised myself by coming on this show. I've never really had a problem with organized religion in my hometown or in where I'm living right now. I've never had to deal with some zealot telling me I'm going to hell because I don't have a problem with gay people, or I don't have a problem with people of different color skin or different ethnicity. I'm fascinated by other philosophies at face value because I want to learn. Again, going back to my nephew, he has a friend who is a Buddhist, and he went to temple a couple of times just to see what it was like. Changed his life. That he didn't start, becoming a devout Buddhist or anything like that. But some of the things about discipline, like self-discipline, he took to heart. Back then he was a skate punk. After working with the temple a little bit and doing that kind of stuff, he eventually, well, like I said, he started straightening himself out. My brother told me, he started cleaning his room. He started dressing a little less grungy. He went to school to become a chef. He had all kinds of plans. Now, the chef thing kind of got derailed. He's now a Red Seal crane operator. Could be making boku bucks overseas if he gets the chance. So when people kind of poo-poo religion and stuff like that, I do think a little bit and think, on a philosophical level as to what some of the benefits are in terms of disciplining yourself to become a better person, that I don't have a problem with. But if you start telling other people that, oh, you don't follow my religion, therefore I can name you an infidel and I can make you go to hell, or I should kill you because you're an infidel, or anything like that, that's where I'm going to have the problem. And that's kind of why I started in on this, is because, there are people out there who are just taking this way, way too seriously.
I think that's a piece that's really important for for us to kind of remember when we start getting together for these kinds of things, that there are so many. All right, let's deal with Easter on its own terms. It's a Christian holiday. It's not a Jewish holiday because that's Passover, which is a whole other thing. And anyway,
Passover's fun.
Yeah,
I have to wonder.
I still prefer Yom Kippur.
I was going to say, like the traditional dinner, correct me if I'm wrong, on Easter Sunday is ham. It's probably why I never liked Easter, because I was never a big fan of ham when I was a kid. Was that a big middle finger to the Jewish people on the part of the Christians?
I don't know. Let's ask the resident Jew.
That's kind of why I put it out there.
That's a good question.
I'm sorry, Tech. I need to get back at you.
Was this a spite?
Why is that a big thing?
I wonder if it was a spiteful move.
Honestly, I have not a freaking clue, because as far as the whole Jewish aspect to my side of my family, being my mother's side in this case, they ate ham. Even my grandmother ate ham and bacon and those things. They considered themselves basically, part of the progressive Jewish people, the non-Orthodox, if you will. I don't remember how they referred to themselves in that respect, but the Orthodox Jews won't eat pork or anything like that, but the progressive ones will. And as far as the ham thing goes, I have no idea. I mean, look at us here in the United States doing a turkey for Thanksgiving just because goose wasn't readily available. At least that's my understanding. That's what I learned in history. So either A, I learned wrong, or B, that's the truth of the matter for that one. As far as the ham goes, nobody has ever, you guys are the first person to ever bring up to me, hey, why do we eat ham at Easter? That number one. And number two, is it because they wanted to get angry at the Jews or something? It was like, even if it was, the Jewish people are going to look at you and go like, that's it? That's what you're going to do? You're going to eat something we're not supposed to? And that's supposed to get back at us? You do realize that there was a whole country that tried to wipe us out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just go ahead, eat your ham, die of sodium overdose.
Well, I guess the starting question would be, how long has eating ham been a thing for Easter? When did that start?
And see, that would be very interesting to learn, because we didn't always have ham. I mean, ham was the traditional roast, but we also had other things too. It was very interesting, depending on what was available. Reformed Jews, maybe, I don't know. Sorry, I saw something over in the comments.
Interesting.
But the I don't know why ham became so popular. Maybe it was just a livestock that was readily available during that time of the year.
I was actually just reading an article, and apparently it was for more practical reasons. Pigs were raised, and apparently fed things like apples and acorns before they were butchered. They were butchered in the fall, and then the meat was stored and allowed to cure over the winter. Okay. And then you ate it in the spring, which of course had to do because you fed it so many sweet things. It greatly improved the flavor. But yeah, from the sounds of it, this was more of a practicality thing in North America, because in Europe, lamb is the most commonly served thing at Easter.
I like lamb.
Yeah. I just kind of looking at this. I'll throw this one in the notes too, because
I will eat the lamb chop off of lamb chops.
That's really interesting, though.
Yeah, it's it has nothing to do with any kind of real tradition per se, but it was just more the fact that it was a ready food staple at the time, and it just eventually became the thing to do. But again, it was just more out of a sense of practicality than anything religious. And honestly, if it had
again, like I said before, that whole time of year thing.
yeah, honestly, if it had anything to do with religion, Ham would never have been in the equation to begin with, I don't think, unless as a spiteful FU to the Jews.
I can't believe I'm going to get away with this. This is the meal that doesn't end. You're welcome.
And on my friends.
Okay, you know what?
Started
just for that, Shujin, you have no right to criticize any of the rest of us if we pull off something like that.
Nope. None whatsoever. Nope.
But of course, it's his show, his rules. So
yeah, there's a certain amount I get away with. Besides, do we really think that we're going to get a DMCA? Spoilers. We could. Freaking YouTube. Anyway,
yeah.
We can get away with happy birthday.
I was going to say, when are we going to move to minds.com or something? Actually, no, don't go there. I've been looking at it. It's just one of those alternatives to Facebook/YouTube, and it is so full of conspiracy theorists and other people like that. It's just like, damn.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the other video series I do would fit there, because conspiracy theories abound in the other thing. I mean, sort of. It's another thing. No, exactly. No. I'll stick with YouTube.
No. There is something there is a phrase I could use, just not on this particular episode because it's not a power of 10.
Doubly do for that. Stephanie had mentioned, by the way, earlier, talking about the not doing booze for the reception and such. The patriarch has financial influence, I would guess. Well, it's entirely possible. I mean, that happens sometimes. Some kids, forgive me, kids. The wedding couple will typically front up their own damn money so that they can not be beholden to anybody, so that they can do whatever it is that they want to do. And I will admit, we did that.
Yeah. But given the fact that the homestead was used for the ceremony and the reception,
that helps.
Or the dinner was potluck. Several of the friends of the bride and groom brought the food in. The cake was a 3-tiered red velvet cake that was absolutely delicious and almost impossible to cut, as from what I can remember. I have a picture of it somewhere. That the patriarch granted permission to use the land, to use his property as a place to conduct a secular wedding. A little quid pro quo about no booze on site, I don't think is too much to ask for.
No, it's not.
You know, considering all they had to pay for really for fees was, whatever food, whatever beverages that they were serving, which was a lot of, there was some really nice iced tea. There was, of course, pop or soda for all the American people down there.
It's all Coke.
Yeah.
And some areas it's pop, some areas it's soda.
Yeah.
For some of us, it's carbonated beverage.
Yeah. But
those of us from the South, it's all Coke.
Yeah, but no, basically the beverages were paid for. The justice of the peace that conducted the ceremony, there's of course money involved with that. And there would have been no problem, getting a hall or anything like that. They would have had no problem with a venue. Just because I know what their paychecks are like. I know what my nephew makes. He does, like I said before, he does damn good at what he does. But to honor a simple request like that, to make it a dry wedding, given that the reception lasted 2 dances and that was it. We had dinner there. No, they had the bride and the groom dance, and they had the dance with the bride and the groom with the families. That was it. The reception did not go on and on into the night most likely because of the fact there was no booze. The other fact, we were out in the middle of nowhere. Like, no, I'm serious. If it had gotten dark, there's not even street lights. We're talking, it's high beams all the way down dirt roads.
Gotcha.
Now, coming from a small town as I do, that wouldn't have been a problem for me. For a lot of these city slickers, they would have been poached. Like, we're talking totally hooked.
No, I got you.
The only thing that would have saved their ass would have been the GPS, which admittedly saved mine because, I didn't know the area that well. But you see my point.
Yeah. And there are times when, and this actually works out well. There will be occasions where there will be a little something. It doesn't really put you out. People who want to live by Wheaton's rule will not try to be, overzealous. I guess probably the best word for it.
Yeah.
For asking for whatever. Sometimes they will ask for something that's a bigger imposition. Sometimes,
Yeah.
Sometimes not. I mean, asking for a dry reception. That's not a huge imposition. Okay, so there's no beer. Okay. Could they have gotten away with having a champagne toast? Maybe an argument could have been made for it. But it's also a maybe that ginger ale could have been substituted instead. Looks the same, doesn't taste the same, but it gives kind of the same overall look, and it still keeps everything dry anyway.
But again, why would a couple be so sticky on something like a champagne toast? That's the thing is, does it matter what kind of drink you toast a person with? Now, okay, if you're part of a cult that demands, goat's blood be drunk because that's a religious thing, okay, that's a different story entirely.
That's creepy, dude. That
you know somebody out there is going to think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, at least it didn't say anything about a particular church or a particular temple that we've talked about before, because we know that they don't do that stuff.
We hope.
We hope. But no, okay, if they say like a dry wedding, but the bride and groom really want a champagne toast, well, then you got to ask yourself, how much is that champagne toast worth to you? Because if the dry wedding guy is like complete hardline, then okay, so are you going to purchase an entire venue or pull in a favor if you can, just so that you can have a 6-ounce glass of champagne to say, clink, you're my bride now? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Now, some people want to go for that traditional piece, but I personally would be much more along the lines of, Tech and Brigid, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one. For me, this is now, decade-long widower talking again. I would be just completely fine with people holding up, glasses of chocolate milk to toast. If it were a matter that I was getting remarried, I wouldn't care. It could be water. I mean, Tech, I mean, it's not the same for you as it would be for me, but if it were to come down to it, I mean, would you care if it was, champagne or just friggin' ice water?
As long as it wasn't something like bitter or like exponentially sour where you kind of make a face when you taste it. Just something where you can...
not lemonade then.
Well, if it's sweetened, just something that's not going to cause you to make a face when you're doing it.
Yeah. And Brigid, I got to imagine that, for you, it's a little bit of a different animal also, but I mean, for you, would you even care?
No. I mean, something like that in the scheme of things is so minor.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean,
the only time that I would be, a dick about it would be if they started making all these other, if I had to make a bunch of concessions, then I might get a little testy about it.
Well, if the concessions get too big, you can always tell them, screw yourself and, go find another venue.
Yeah.
There is that too. Like my family has, they had a rule for us. Our first wedding would be a church wedding. That's the way it was going to be. If for some reason there was a second wedding or more than that, we had the option to either have a church wedding, or it would be a justice of the peace wedding. Now, that rule extended only to my immediate brothers and sisters. My oldest niece was justice of the peace. My nephew, justice of the peace. My other niece, again, all of them were secular weddings with some neat traditions thrown in. But no, the last church wedding that I was a part of was my own. That's the last one. Even my second not so official wedding, while it took place in a church, it was not a minister presiding over it. It was it was her mom. You know, she just read the words. It was a secular thing, but it was held in a church venue because a lot of her family were part of this particular church, and they had no problem giving us the room, so to speak.
Yeah, and Fuji and I had even talked, and admittedly, this goes back to, you know, the 90s, you know, after we were married, obviously, but give you an idea as to how we were together. We bandied the idea around of renewing our vows sometime at a sci-fi con in near Beta Z tradition, which would have meant that we would have both worn skin-colored bodysuits to be acceptable, because it would have been, theoretically, it should have been, you know, all nude, and obviously in public you really can't get away with that. But you know, and knowing full well, at a con, alcohol, nope.
Yeah.
Water stations like crazy, but yeah.
Well,
So,
and I've known people, couples who've had fursuit weddings
sure.
where there's nothing official. There's no license, but their personas get married as a symbol. Two of my very good friends did that. Hell, you've seen weddings in Second Life. You know, I've attended a couple of those. You know, so I mean, whatever they call the sanctity of marriage these days, no. You know, I mean, it's a gesture between two people who want to spend the rest of their lives together. On the secular side of it, there are benefits: financial, tax, status. There are things that you do realize as a benefit for being married. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, that's all there is to it. If you try to tack religion onto that, honestly, I think you cheapen it.
So with getting close into closing up the show, let's just kind of recap just a little bit, because most people are not going to catch this in time for Easter 2018, and I'm not trying to say, you know, get this done before you go to sleep tonight. But for those of you that are going to be dealing with familial gatherings, and we know they happen regardless. Could be Easter, could be a wedding, could be a funeral. It happens. Statistically speaking, all of you that are listening, you will attend a funeral at least once, one way or another. Unless, of course, you know,
even if it's a goldfish.
Well, I actually, funny enough, I was about to say something, but Dalan, you weren't on the show last night. We talked about Katrina and how hundreds of graves were soaked so much that the body casings came up out of the ground and floated away. So yeah, we had a little bit of a thing about that. That's it's another thing later. If you're going to be getting together, sooner or later you will, with folks. I guess the first rule, don't be a dick. Seriously, don't. I mean, Wheaton's rule is all encompassing in a lot of ways. I don't think any of us would argue with Wheaton's rule as a good starting off point. Item 2. You don't have to be a doormat either. I don't think any of us are going to argue with that one either. And as far as I'm concerned, item 3, and then I'll turn it loose to you guys to try to add to how to work it over. If you're visiting, be respectful. But if you can't, it's not your place. You can leave if you have to. Tech, anything that you think might be worthwhile for folks to remember when, these gatherings happen and maybe things might be going south, or maybe they're going good?
As far as funerals go, gatherings at funerals, most funerals are either due to following ritual or just something to make the living feel good. And you can take that however you want, because if you go down to New Orleans, they celebrate the life of the person who died. They have a parade, they have music and all that other stuff, because they want to remember the good times.
Irish too. Irish.
Yep, definitely the Irish. But the point is what I'm saying is that what most people are used to seeing is what you see on TV. Everybody decked out in black. It's very solemn. Words are said of, so and so, God this, God that, and so on and so forth. In the Bible Belt or in certain areas, you may actually hear the so and so is going to wherever, but you might not be if you don't come into church next Sunday. Turn it into a advertisement for next week's services, so to speak. It happens, folks. The point is that depending where you wind up in the case of a funeral, case in point, when my aunt died, I found myself up in New York. Nice Catholic church and everything for the services. The priest was a young man. I don't know if the guy was younger than me or not, but he looked it. Then again, I have a beard, so he talked about her and her life. Some of the questions that she had for him that he could openly talk about without, really breaking any of the trust that she and him had in each other. Things that had made him think about his faith and answers and how to answer them for her and so on and so forth. And overall, it was a very nice service. He didn't do any advertisement. He didn't make it about God. He made it about her. And it was nice. People said lots of nice things to my uncle, to me, to so on and so forth. But I didn't hear anybody openly say, "Oh, we'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. We'll pray for you." We heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, this, she was so great. She loved this. She loved that." They said happy things because she was generally a happy person. But I was at a different funeral when I was much younger. One where I got yelled at. My mom got yelled at. My mom, that was their second mistake. Their first mistake was yelling at me. Their second was yelling at my mom. My mom turned around and let them have it. And what it was is, it was after the funeral. It was at the wake. And somebody asked me why I wasn't crying, and I said, "Well, I'm happy." And I was talking about my grandmother on my father's side who had passed on. She was no longer in pain in my mind's eye. And that's what I was happy about. And apparently that was too gruesome for everybody else to accept. You find yourself in these situations. Stick close to the people that you love, that support you, and you support them. Play it by ear. If there's a whole lot of praying going on and you're an atheist, and somebody says they'll pray for you, just say thank you. Let it go. Let it go, because they're grieving. They have their own process, everything else. If they demand that you get down on your knees and pray with them, you say, listen, I'm not in the mood for that right now. Maybe some other time, walk away, diffuse the situation, be the better person. If it's a happy occasion, like a wedding, normally people aren't going to tell you to get down on your damn knees and pray unless you're in the church and they're doing the prayer. At which point, hey, guess what? I've gone to church a couple times in the last few weeks. I visited a Methodist one. I visited a couple other types. I've visited a Unitarian. That one was fun. They thought it was funny that I was an atheist coming to church, but I was welcomed with open arms. I said, don't worry, we won't try to convert you. Your type is very welcome here. I was like,
That was at the Unitarian church?
Yeah. The Unitarians are very open to secular people being in attendance.
Yeah.
Dude, they opened up with, one day they opened up with a Buddhist, I think it was Buddhist, like a Buddhist song, or was it a song or whatever, something Buddhist. Then they had something from like our forefathers' time, some kind of it said from like it said something Thomas Jefferson was in the credits.
Wow.
Then they had a Jewish prayer, which I thought was hilarious. They're pulling from everything. It was great. The irony there was insane. But they're nice people. And more importantly, every single Unitarian service I have attended since, and I've attended 2 different locations for various reasons. They've all focused on what they can do to, what their prayers are addressing, and then what they can do as human beings. So prayer and action, not just prayer, not thoughts and feelings, thoughts, feelings, and action, which is why I kind of think they're interesting people. But as far as the weddings go, like I said, usually those are happy occasions. Watch out for the drunks. If anybody asks you, so you go to such and such church or whatever, you go, no, I'm between churches. Or better yet, join the Church of Bacon, not Kevin Bacon. I mean, this is about bacon, folks. Real bacon. I'm a member of the Church of the Dude. I'm a dudist. So when people ask me, is like, oh, are you looking for a new church? I was like, no, I've got one. It's like, oh, where is it? Oh, well, they have an online kind of thing, so I can go pretty much wherever I want. And they're like, oh, okay, that's great. And they just kind of drop it and move on, which is great.
All right. And
I know that it was kind of like all over the place, but the truth is that happens. It's all over the place, man. You don't know if somebody's going to come flying out of left field with a, dude, you need to pray with me now kind of thing going, where the hell did that come from? I thought everything was going nicely. And maybe they found somebody passed out in a rose bush, and it's going to like throw everything for a loop. And they're praying that everything gets diffused. You never know. Some people are weird.
Well, what's really uncomfortable is if somebody lays hands on you and starts praying over you without invitation. They just do it.
Oh,
that's a thing here.
Yeah, that would be really funny for me because
really
I slap
squirmy.
at people who touch me without invitation. And if somebody were to do that, they'd get their hand slapped. And if they go,
Talk
"What are you
about
doing?"
Violating someone's personal space. That
Yes,
just, the first time that ever happened to me, that just freaked me the hell out.
Well, yeah, and I could see somebody suffering from, some kind of post-traumatic stress. If someone comes up behind you, lays hands on you, you're going to turn around, you're going to belt them one. I mean, it would be pure instinct, pure reflex, but damn, I'd have.
Well, these are just people who think they're entitled to because they work with you or whatever. I mean, it's just. Ugh.
You know, that's a we do have to kind of get a finale on the thing, but that's something that I don't think that we've ever I was going to say touched on. Pun was not intended at all. That's why I stopped myself. It's something that we haven't really covered, but real quick, I think that's probably a good one to finish off with. The idea of the folks that feel entitled to their opinion and how they're going to help with your mini exorcism because you're just there. Brigid, that's probably the last item that you can go ahead and, because I mean, you open the door on that one. You might as well just clarify it and just put that one to bed right there.
Yeah, just don't do that. Just don't do that. It's really awkward. It's icky. It's just no. As far as any advice that I would have for handling relatives, I really don't have anything to offer. I'm estranged, from my family. I mean, not my husband and daughter, but my family. So we just really don't do anything on holidays, other than just the three of us here. And it's probably better that way.
Considering
Feels
how
sad, I know, but
well it doesn't. I mean, let's face it. If it would be a matter of it would be causing a lot of friction back and forth with the extended family, maybe that's the only way that you really can do it.
yeah, I mean, it's just pretty hard to be around, someone who has said, I'm praying for you every night, and I hope that you're just mentally ill and not really demon possessed and evil. Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go with the fallacy of the excluded middle. Let's go with that one right there. Okay.
Jesus.
Some people are probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Maybe we'll talk through a couple of things later. Anyway, we do have to kind of get things rolling over here. I've got something I have to accomplish a little bit later, and I need to see about getting myself to sleep a little bit early because, like I said, I have to kind of get up tomorrow to do a little bit of a driving. So,
well, I
we'll
do
get to
have
that.
one last thing I'd like to throw out
Please.
there since
Please.
this show went nowhere where I thought it was going to go. But
that happens.
But the whole idea of blood atonement is just really, really unnerving. It's disgusting. And my husband and I were having this discussion about, Christmas hymns. He loves Christmas hymns. They're wonderful. But he was like, well, what about Easter hymns? And all of them have to do with like blood and being washed white by the blood and fountains of blood. And it's just really disgusting if you think about it. But that's all I wanted to say.
There are a lot of ways of generating computer-based movies. I'm thinking of specifically Source Filmmaker. I wonder how interesting some of those hymns would be if they were recreated in these kinds of environments where you don't have to worry about actually hurting anybody and showing them literally on screen for people.
That's an idea.
Somehow or other, I think recreating the Bible stories that way would get somehow I think there would be some very large black censor bars in a lot of places.
Oh yeah, people would get like really stabby about that stuff.
And I think Heretic Woman would be really pissed. Why would you go? Gotta terms and conditions, son. It's only so much Ezekiel we can get away with.
Yeah, I was just wondering I wonder how the guy who did the Lego Bible pulled that one off.
It took years.
It didn't say anything about pulling that off. I'm just, no. No, some people know where my brain is going. You're my people. Sick mofos.
Took him years to do, and it was a labor of love.
Yeah.
All those Legos.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, we got to get out of here.
Lot and his daughters with Legos. Yeah.
I hope he stepped on a.
God, you know, if you look up the Bible, Lego version of it, where they've put the Legos into the scene, taking the pictures and all that,
It's called the Brick Bible.
the reviews are hilarious.
The book is hilarious.
Can't imagine why. I hope he stepped on a claptrap made out of 1x1 Legos. Some people know what I'm talking about, and again, you're my people. Sick mofos.
Yeah.
People.
If you don't want to Google Lego Bible, it's called the Brick Bible. Amazon has it.
So meanwhile, we have to get on out of here. So as always, thank you everybody hanging out with us this evening. Hope that you had yourself a good night. And I did tell you that we were not going to be doing anything specifically for April Fool's Day. I gave you my word. I held my word. However, the nice folks over there at Think Geek did come up with something.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me pull this up. I want to see this before you.
What did they do?
I want one. I want one.
I know. One of the things that they came up with this year is the Edison versus Tesla Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Oh, God.
It should be a thing, and I
Dude,
believe
this should also be a thing. Could you imagine pulling this off at a pool party? The alien face hugger snorkel mask.
You know,
we
can hope.
One of those.
Although, there's definitely one thing on here that would definitely hit well with the sell well with the fetish community. Go ahead, click the link. I dare you. It's safe.
The tent's a cuddle blanket. Yeah, I saw that.
Here's the funny part. In the description, it says a 2017 April Fool's product made real. It is. It's real.
Klingon alphabet fridge magnets. The Rick and Morty screaming sun alarm clock.
That's what I was squeeing about. I want one of those.
Honestly, I am one of those few people who have not watched a single episode of Rick and Morty.
I haven't either.
The alarm clock's a joke.
Yeah, about the only thing I saw, is a lot of people use the meme, Pickle Rick. Although, again, I completely lose all context for it. Okay, yeah, it's kind of funny, but again, honestly, I have no interest in watching it. What?
The reason why Pickle Rick is so popular is two-part. One, the phrase itself is funny. In terms of listening to a grandfatherly aged man who happens to be the most smartest, insane scientist in all existence, screaming out that basically he's a pickle. And second, he actually turns himself into a pickle for the sole purpose to get out of going to therapy.
So, on top of everything else, Dalan was asking me what the hell. I made this animation a while ago for one of my avatars on an art account, and I was very proud of this. It is one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with his hand around April O'Neil face, and the animation on it says today is March 32nd. We're holding April for 24 hours.
It took me a second.
Jeez. I get it. Wow.
Look, it was either that or the Captain Avatar, and I've done that one once already. I have to find that picture. I don't know where the hell that is. I got to find that again. Anyway, we got to get out of here. Thank you guys for being with us. I hope that you had yourselves a great time. Over in the live chat at the moment, Stephanie, I guess it was pretty much just you. I know full well that Devin was in there earlier, and Sora was there, so don't know if you still are, but that's okay. Thank you for being with us. As always, let me go ahead and say goodnight to the staff because, well, kind of have to, because otherwise they get pissy. I don't know why. Tech, thank you very much. You have yourself a good rest of your weekend, and I hope that you don't have to be chugging a whole bunch of Tylenol for all the walking that you did.
No, it's nothing like that. It's just a lot of physical exertion, just going around and doing stuff, and it wears you out when you're not used to it. Basically, the main problem was I switched from cardio to muscle development in the gym, and I did that this morning like I do every Saturday morning. But then I added on for the rest of the day, thanks to Pokemon Go, a full day's worth of cardio. So yeah, coffee's not helping.
Can't say I blame you, but still, you have yourself a good morning.
Thank you. You too.
Brigid, you have yourself also a good morning, and thanks for being, as always.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
You know full well, I'm just going to hang you out to dry.
You can come find me on Facebook, Brigid Fitch, or go read my blog at brigidfitch2112.wordpress.com.
Like pulling freaking teeth with you, man. Seriously, it's like pulling teeth. Whatever. And Dalan, thank you very much for your time, and of course for all of what you've done to the storage of my personal storage device in here.
Well, okay, there is the thing, you can set it so that after you've listened to it, it does delete.
Oh yes, but it's a matter of that I have I had a large contingent of stuff that suddenly said, "Hey, you want to listen to this, don't you?"
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's because, of course, I had to do a little bit of work getting the website over at holycrapthevlogcast.com up to date, which I'm grateful to say, or happy to say, it is now. I know I let it slide sometimes, and that's totally my fault. I end up wanting to do it, and then Sunday something happens, and it just goes on the back burner. But yeah, if you didn't watch it here on YouTube, or if you wanted something a little more portable, of course, you can go over to that site and grab yourself the podcast feed. And it's all the audio goodness, unedited, unabridged, because for episodes this long, I don't fix nothing in post.
Actually, funny enough, I was listening to the episode 200 with the good doctor that was on.
Yeah.
We didn't add in the applause like we were going to. I didn't remind you about that. Oops. Oh well.
But anyways, yeah. So there's that, and you don't want to catch my ramblings on stuff that we don't usually talk about on this show. Hit me up at inthewind.yo5.ca.
Thank you, man. Seriously. And as he was saying, yes, over at holycrapvlogcast.com. The link is over on the left-hand side. Please remember, don't just click on the thing that says subscribe to the podcast. There's little orange wavy things over there. That's the guy to hit. It's a WordPress thing. Don't blame us. We've got nothing to do with that one. If you'd like to leave a voicemail message for us, you can do that over at the line 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. Yes, I'm wearing my glasses again because my eyes are a little bit dry. Whatever, piss off. I don't care. If you'd like to find all of our social media links, they're over at the website. No problem from there. And we'd be more than happy to keep you up to date on stuff. For those that are looking for us over on Facebook, yes, we are actually over there. And we do occasionally get somebody who pops in and it's like, oh, okay, we'll like that. We appreciate it. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys again next week. With any luck, more of the country will actually be in springtime instead of winter. Finally. We'll see. But no matter what, thank you for being part of all this. Until the next time we get together, everybody, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And of course, my lady, 12 years on, I am still in love with you. Not today, Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till next week and the next time we get together, everybody. Good night.